prepare ourselves as you put your hand over your eyes, I open my eyes to see the spiritual truth today.
I open my eyes to see the spiritual truth today.
Now over your ears, I open my ears to hear the spiritual truth today.
I open my ears to hear the spiritual truth today.
Now over your heart and extend out your arms, I open my heart to receive the spiritual truth today.
I open my heart to receive the spiritual truth today.
The spiritual truth that I'm working with is that nothing real can ever be taken from you. Nothing real can ever be lost to you. You might lose your boyfriend, but you will never lose love. You might lose a limb, but you will never lose wholeness. You might lose your house, but you'll never lose abundance. You might lose your job, but you never will lose creativity. Nothing real can ever be taken from you. A demonstration of real things, like the boyfriend, the house, the job, the car, those things might go, the demonstrations, but the real things themselves can never be taken from you. This is a basic Buddhist teaching. And today we're starting our month-long series of looking at the light that you are through the eyes of other religions that are celebrating light this time of year. We start today with Bodhi Day. Next week, we're going to go to Hanukkah. I won't be here next week, but Rabbi Seth Castleman, and many of you heard him before, and many of you told me how great he was. Rabbi Seth will be here to talk about the spiritual nourishment available to us through Hanukkah. The week after that, we're going to do the pagan holiday of Winter Solstice. Following that, we'll do 2 Christmases, one on a Sunday, and then Christmas Eve, our beautiful candle lighting service. And then we move on to the fastest growing holiday in the Americas today, which is Kwanzaa. And not only do we have a service around Kwanzaa, but then we have a party about Kwanzaa at 4 in the afternoon, not to be missed. It's a great day. We have African drummers and dancers and all kinds of things that Rebecca and Chaplain Tanya are putting together for us. So it's going to be a great month. I want to say that we're not trying to be any of these things. I'm not trying to be a Buddhist. I'm not trying to be a pagan. I'm not trying to be a Jew or a Christian or an African American. What we're trying to do is to look at the spiritual nourishment available to us through those holidays. And one of the ways that we show respect is by having an altar that Rosemary Mayfield made for us, all these altars, with the exception of Kwanzaa, which Rebecca Davis made for us. And we show respect by having that on the program, on the altar, and doing a blessing. I'm going to bring an old friend up right now who she did what a daughter needs to do. Her mom was experiencing early onset dementia, and so she totally uprooted her whole entire life and moved back to Arkansas to take care of her mom during these waning years. We miss her terribly, but she's doing a wonderful thing. Val Turner, will you come up and do our honor?
Great to be here to celebrate with you this Sunday. We reverently pray for the eternal harmony in the universe. May the weather be seasonable, may the harvest be fruitful, may countries exist in harmony, and may all people enjoy happiness. Bodhi.
Well, Bodhi Day is the day of enlightenment of the Buddha. Now, as I say every Bodhi Day, I want to be clear here. Buddha did not become enlightened in one day, and you and I are not going to become enlightened in one day either. This is a process, but it's a day in which we celebrate. The actual day of Bodhi Day is next Sunday, and just as an aside, all of these holidays are in the month of December, and none of them are on the right day. And that's because I can't get them all in on the right day, so we're kind of spreading them out. But today is Bodhi Day, and like many of us, the first Buddha, you're all Buddhists, but the first Buddha that we celebrate, that we learn from, that who taught us, was a man named Siddhartha. And Siddhartha woke up one day and he said, you know what, there's got to be more to life than this. And haven't we all done that at times? There's just got to be more to life than what I'm living right now. His soul was calling a bigger expression into his experience. And, it's not like he didn't he wanted a new vehicle. He had the best carriage in all the land. He didn't want a new house. He lived in a palace. He didn't need vacations. He could go anywhere he wanted. Siddhartha was, in fact, a prince with all of the luxuries that princes have. And while that might seem like enough for many of us, thinking, well, my God, he had all that stuff. What's the problem? Why wasn't he living an authentic life? He wasn't living an authentic life because things don't make us happy. The absence of things can make us very sad. And that's one of the reasons in this church we want you to have all the things that you want. In fact, we work hard to help you get all the things that you want in your life. But make no mistake, things don't make us happy. Your soul doesn't care what things you have. It cares what feelings you have. And your feelings come from your thoughts, not your things. Your consciousness determines whether you're happy or you're sad when you wake up in the morning. And that's why we spend so much time working on this thing called consciousness, which is simply our awake and aware mind. It's simply our awake and aware thinking. Well, to assist us in having a higher consciousness or more successful awake and aware thinking, we're looking at what the Buddha taught us through the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. Because he said, look, if you will embrace this, if you will understand the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, your life is just going to be a lot happier than it is right now. So I'm going to run through all of these. The first noble truth is there is suffering in this life. Now look, a lot of times people misunderstand this teaching. And I've heard people say that Buddha said that all life is suffering. Buddha never said all life is suffering. Buddha said there is suffering in this life. And you need neither Buddha nor I to tell you that there's suffering in this life, because there's not a person in this room who hasn't experienced some suffering at some time, either in our families, our bodies, our jobs, our marriages, or whatever. We've all experienced some suffering in our life. The second noble truth is all suffering comes from attachment. We want to have the things we want, when we want them, and how we want them. And that's a good thing. In fact, we work very hard in this church to get you to a place where you know you can have what you want, when you want it, how you want it. We teach classes in manifestation. We do work in prayer around manifestation. We do workshops to help you become the person who is in charge of what it is that you want. Many people understand this teaching also to mean that if we want things, we shouldn't want things. All suffering is from attachment. Well, then I don't want to have anything. I know people in my life who are afraid to want things because they're afraid they're going to be disappointed, or they're going to get them and then they're going to lose them and then they're going to be sad. Let me tell you, you are going to be sad. If you want something and you lose it, you're going to be sad, and that's okay. It's far better to want something, to lose it, and to be sad than to protect yourself from wanting anything good and go around in life being distant and fearful in our life because we're afraid we're going to lose something. There's going to be grief time, and it's okay. When we're attached to people, places, and things, and they go away, it's a sad time. It's a time of grief. We can help. That's why we're in spiritual community. We had one of our members lost her beloved brother a couple of weeks ago, and she came to me and she said, Rev, I need to be in the church more. What do you have for me to do? I need to be here. Because she understood that she had lost something precious to her, and that we could help with that grieving period in our life. It's important for all of us to get into classes, meet friends, so that we have support when we don't not want stuff, Know that you have support if you lose something that it was you want. Volunteer, get in classes, join a small group ministry. I hope all the 20s, 30s, and 40s in this church will be willing to go out on the 14th of December. We've got kids who are, I call it incarcerated. They're they've been taken from their parents and put in a group home. And Santa's workshop opens up one day, and so we want people to go and help get Santa's workshop organized. 20s, 30s, and 40s, our Young Connect group. We want you to sign up over there and go do that. It will make you feel better and you'll make friends. The third noble truth is that there is a way to stop suffering. And that's a fabulous thing. Now notice that the Buddha did not say there's a way to prevent suffering. There's no way to prevent suffering. If you're brave enough to want something, chances are you're going to have an opportunity to grieve. He didn't say prevent, he said there's a way to stop suffering so that we can still have hope and desire. And the fourth noble truth is here's the way to end suffering. It's called the Eightfold Path. Now, here's the thing about the Eightfold Path. It uses the word right in front of whatever behavior they want us to look at. And I know we're religious scientists and we're not Buddhists. And we don't like right and wrong. Ooh, we don't like that. We don't want anybody telling us what's right and what's wrong. We do not care. So here's the thing. Substitute the word success. The first one, he calls it right view. Call it success view. Successful view, if you want. Here's the thing about right view. The four foundational beliefs I say every morning when you come in here on Sunday morning, that's right view. That's right view. Many ways to look at this teaching, and Buddhists often teach it by saying, look at the world as it is, not as we are. I actually disagree with Buddhists who teach that this way. I don't think we should be looking at the world as it is and thinking it's right view. I think that we need to look at the world how we want it to be, and that's right view. So there's nothing right view for me about looking at a president who is could be impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors and who talks so crudely. That is not a right view for me. A right view is to look at to imagine a president who speaks with compassion and love and intelligence in our life. That's right view. See, one of the things that concerns me right now is voter suppression. If there's no value in me looking at voter suppression, there's great value in me imagining every voter who wants to vote to have a place and a time to vote, whatever your political party is. And if you need help determining your party, I'll help you. There's no value in looking at conditions because nothing can be solved at the level of condition. Nothing. It has to be solved at the level of connections. Right view is holding a greater picture of life than what we see right now, and to understand that God is in charge. And if we can connect with that view, that right view, that successful view, that compassionate view, that kind view, that working view, that's when things begin to change. Right view is to hold on to the absolute truth that God is in charge. That God is in charge and no person, place, or thing has power over me. The second of the Eightfold Path is right intention. Now, I almost don't need to speak about intention because I speak about it so often here at CSA. If you don't have an intention, if you don't have a goal, if you don't have a strong desire, you're stuck in your life. Everybody needs a strong desire, a strong goal in their life. Buddha takes it deeper. He says, look, you don't need just an intention, you need a right intention. What's a right intention? It's an intention that is congruent with spiritual principle, that is in harmony with God's law. That's what right intention is. You want $100,000? That's a right intention. You want $100,000 from a Ponzi scheme? That's not a right intention. And here's the thing, you might get the 100 grand, but you won't be happy in your life. We have to harmonize ourselves with spirit in our life. The third one is right speech. In other words, what your mother told you. Talk nice. Talk nice. Not only talk nice to yourself, but talk nice to other people in your life as well. I come from a family who enjoys put-down humor. And here's the problem with put-down humor. All the people who are doing the put-down and the people around the put-down humor people are all laughing, and the person who is being put down is totally devastated. And in my family, if you don't laugh along after having been put down, they say things like, "Oh, you're so sensitive. Don't you have a sense of humor? I was just kidding." No, you weren't kidding. And you hurt my feelings. And that's not right speech. In recovery, we say this: we have to have restraint of tongue and pen. And that just simply means think about what you're saying before you say it. And is it something that's going to hurt somebody or lift them up? Because we're lifter-upper people here at CSA. That's what we do in our life. And it's not just, we're a representation of God on the planet. And every time you put somebody down, whether it's yourself or somebody else, you just put God down. You just put God down. The next one, the fourth one, is right action. And it simply means the action that supports love and oneness. That's what right action is. It supports love and oneness. When people say, "I really don't know what to do in this situation," ask yourself the question: is one of the possibilities supporting love and oneness? And if it is, choose that one. Now, that does not mean that we have to be doormats on the planet. Nobody wants anybody to be a doormat in this church. And sometimes the best right action you can do is simply to step back and separate yourself from the situation. But we don't do it in a huff. We don't do it, giving them half the peace sign. We give it simply by giving love and moving away in our life. The next one is right livelihood. Now, in some cases, this has to do with our own value system and our own morality. I don't like to talk about morality because it's a word that is so laden with stuff. But let me say this. I have some friends who used to work for Hewlett-Packard. And when Hewlett-Packard started making parts that go in bombs, they left. They said, "I can't work for Hewlett-Packard anymore because I don't want to spend my day making bombs that are going to kill other people." That's right livelihood for them. That was their value. I read an article recently about an ICE worker who had to quit because she said, "I can't put one more child in a cage. I just can't do it." That's right livelihood for her. It was her values. See, we have to be congruent. But I want to talk about our teaching also, because it has to do with our personal desires in our life for our livelihood. Some of us are working in jobs that we do not want to have. We were doing it, but we're also stuck, and we're dying a little bit each day we go to work. Here's the way to get out of that. I'm not saying quit your job. I'll never say that. But what I am saying is, if you're an engineer and you want to be a dancer, start dancing. If you're a bus driver and you want to be a nurse, begin the transition of reading and studying about nursing. Whatever it is, begin in your life. Don't waste your precious life by staying in a job that is wrong livelihood for you. It isn't even wrong livelihood for society. It's just wrong livelihood for what's in your heart, what's in your soul. Begin the transition. When I say begin, there's nothing wrong with working in a job that is not your right livelihood. If you're on your way to getting yourself to the right livelihood. We have a minister in this church who is a minister, a great minister, ordained, teaches classes here, prays with people here. She and her partner wanted to have their own church. They wanted to co-minister a church just like this one. And so they applied and they applied and they applied and they applied. And none of them panned out. Some of them, they got to the interview and said, oh, not this church. Others just didn't pan out. They kept working at their job. Did they love the job? No. One is at an Amazon fulfillment center, not a fun job at all. Another works in the optical industry and had to go back. Wasn't anything about ministry. Of course, every minister takes ministry everywhere they go, but this wasn't their dream job. This wasn't right livelihood for them. But they persevered. They kept a roof over their head. They kept food on the table. But they also kept the dream alive. And I am so honored, although missing her, honored to say that Reverend Divine, stand up, Reverend Divine, she and her spouse, Reverend Liz, have just accepted a letter of call to the Colorado Springs Church of Unity. Yes. Right livelihood might not come right away, but it will come if you stick with it. You know, there are immigrants in this country who came here highly skilled, but they weren't able to integrate into jobs in this country because they didn't have the licenses. The ones who have made it were happy to work as janitors as they were getting licensed in this country. They didn't fill themselves with bitterness. They knew right livelihood was on its way. The next one is right effort. Whatever you're doing to help you right now, keep doing it. Keep doing it. But here's the thing. Scan your life every once in a while. Take a little inventory of your life. What am I doing that helps me today? Because half the time we're not even conscious of what helps us in our life. We're not aware of it. If you're a person who goes to the gym, go to the gym. Don't just join the gym, go to the gym. That's right effort in your life. If you're a person in recovery, go to meetings in recovery. Do the steps, meet with your sponsor. Do the right effort to make yourself good. I think that the great Buddha put this one in, right effort. He put it in because he knew we were great starters, but we aren't such great finishers. And he knew that we needed this. The seventh one is right mindfulness. It can look a little bit, if we're not careful, like right view, but it's different. Right view is your brain. Right mindfulness is your mind and your heart together. Because when you put your mind and your heart together, we're present. And that's what right mindfulness is. It's a presence right now. We're only looking at right now. And that's all God looks at, is right this second, this nanosecond, right now. And here's the thing, when we're present, we don't get involved in revenge, and we don't get involved in resentment, because we're present right where we are. I know families who have had said something, and we've all done this. Haven't you ever said something and you wished it never came out of your mouth, and you thought, oh my God, why did that come out of my mouth? Well, I know families who that's happened, and instead of staying there and working it out, they went to their corners, and sometimes corners for years. Business partners had a falling out over something stupid, separated for years in their life because we weren't being able to be rightfully mindful. We weren't able to be connected with our spirit right then. The last one is called right concentration. Right concentration. And what it means is stay focused. Now, Buddhists are great meditators. That's what they know how to do, because they know that right concentration takes work. I rarely use the word meditation here. If you probably have been coming for a while, you know that. And the reason I don't is because I think we have a reaction to it. I think it's, oh, that's too much. That means 20 minutes. I have to get one of those pillows and get in a pretzel position. None of that is true. None of that is true. There's no prescribed minutes. Whatever minutes, if everyone in this church would give 5 minutes to God every single morning by being still, by not flapping their gums, by not, running around the house, just sitting and being still for 5 minutes every day, your life would improve exponentially. Now, here's the thing. People say, oh, I've just got a monkey mind. I can't do it. No, can't do it. And I want to ask those people, and I do usually ask them, what's the last movie you saw? Oh, I saw a great movie just the other day. Did you run around during the movie? No. Have you watched a half-hour program on TV? Yeah. Did you run around during the program? No. See, we can do it. We have a class starting in January by Karen Holt, who's a great meditation teacher, and she'll help you if you want to become a person who can do right concentration. You know, more than just Facebook. That's right concentration too, but of a different kind. Let's give it to God. Let's take this message into prayer. Knowing that there's only one power. It's the power of the highest God. The innermost God and the highest God is the same God. It's a God of love, of peace, of joy. I give thanks for that. I release this word into law, and together we say, and so it is.